textbooks can never be replaced with e-textbooks. A laptop can never take the place of a printed text, because government's posture towards such programs has been seeing them as a procurement activity and not an intervention. That is the experience. From Heraldry, in November 2020, the then Minister of Education announced that government was procuring. In November 2020, the then Minister of Education announced that government was procuring 280,000 laptops for our teachers. It was a collaboration between government and our teachers. Government was paying 70%. This was in November 2020, and by the contract government signed, the laptops were supposed to be delivered to our teachers within 12 months. Come from November 2020, 13 November 2020 to date. 19 months after the end of the one year, 19 months after. There are thousands of teachers who do not have these laptops. So we have struggled to supply 280,000 laptops to teachers, even after teachers have paid their 1/3 contribution. So that is the history of our experience in supplying laptops. 280,000 in year 3. What about calculators? In 2020, the Ministry of Education announced that it was procuring calculators for senior high school students, scientific calculators. And that the reason, which was cogent, was that WAEC had recommended a certain non-programmable calculator, CAPEC, which is required to enable the students not to cheat in the WASI. It was rushed through Parliament. I'm talking about the exemption bill, the exemption certificate. It was rushed through Parliament with the speed of light. Amid all the controversies, it was passed. At the end of the day, out of the 853,000 calculators that the ministry said they were procuring, supplying to students, as we speak, 3 years after, not more than half have been supplied. No more than half have been supplied. So we have a very very good lessons to learn when it comes to procuring gadgets for senior high school students or for students. Let's look at Wi-Fi. In November 2020, His Excellency the Vice President launched government free Wi-Fi program for senior high schools and other educational institutions, including district education officers, regional education officers, and other education sector institutions. About 700 senior high schools were supposed to benefit from the free Wi-Fi. And the program was to install and then provide the Wi-Fi service every month. And the contract was signed with Busy Internet to do that job. So for the next 5 years after contract signing, which the contract is still operational, schools should have regular internet. And we are paying an amount of 6 million every month for this service. Now, what is the experience of this? The experience is that in many institutions, the Wi-Fi is not working. The Wi-Fi is not working. It started with the colleges of education, but I won't go there because they are not my focus. EduWatch has been doing a survey, a random survey of 100 senior high schools to ascertain the functionality of the Wi-Fi. Data was collected just last week. As of last week, only 81% of the 100 schools we sampled, only 81% of the 100 schools we sampled, they don't have the Wi-Fi working. Only 19% had functioning Wi-Fi out of 100 schools that was sampled. So our experience of managing Wi-Fi is not too different from how we manage the calculators. And there's one angle I didn't bring about the calculator issue, which is the fact that not only the government was not able to supply all the calculators. Majority of calculators came after the WASI. The main reason why they came after the WASI. And then the few that came before the WASI too, when the students finished the examination, they took the calculators, they took them away. So when you go to the schools, you don't find the calculators. Every effort we have made to go and monitor the calculators have proved futile. Because we've seen the calculators in public. People who finish school that year still have most of the calculators in their homes. So it's also a management issue. Now, laptops are gadgets that come with maintenance issues. We appreciate it. If you look carefully at the size of our senior high schools, an average senior high school has 3,000 students. Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. Big schools like Presec has about 5,500. But on the average, it's 3,000. Some schools will have lower numbers, but the average is 3,000. So imagine this. You have 3,000 students using 3,000 laptops in a school. And on the laptop is their textbook. All other learning materials are on the laptop. The meaning is that if the laptop develops a fault, the student will not be able to access learning content. And we know how long it takes for laptops to be repaired, even in our own private capacities, the one you are paying, let alone the one government is paying. I hope we are aware that you will need someone stationary in the school, full-time repairer, maintenance person, technical person providing support. Are we in the capacity to afford all this? Let's move to electricity. Our senior high schools continue to find it difficult to pay their electricity bills. And most of you journalists here appreciate the daily news of disconnection of electricity in our senior high schools. The fact is that government subventions to these schools keep delaying. Sometimes administrative grants to our senior high school will delay for up to a year. And we know headmasters will go and borrow money to run these schools. They are always borrowing to run the schools. So it is understandable that sometimes we, the CSOs gathered here, Africa Education Watch, Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, and the Civil Society SDG platform, believe that textbooks can never be replaced with e-textbooks. A laptop can never take the place of a printed textbook. It has never been so in any country, and it will never work in Ghana. And so, if government has any plans to introduce laptops, it should be within a different context, at a different time, where it probably will be a complement to printed textbooks. But textbooks on laptops, that is e-textbooks, can never replace printed textbooks. We further conclude that the plans to procure 1.3 million laptops for senior high school students are ill-informed. They are not backed by any feasibility study, nor informed by any clear educational objectives. We believe that all plans to procure this 1.3 million laptops for senior high school students contradicts international best practice in the use of laptops. As we said, no country has replaced printed textbooks with digital or e-textbooks. The plan to procure 1.3 million laptops for senior high school students does not represent efficient and prioritized use of public funds in the face of a staggering evidence of textbooks and desk deficits, not to talk about infrastructure in our public basic schools. It doesn't represent prioritized spending. 4, we believe that plans to spend billions on laptops for e-textbooks for senior high school students at a time where they already have adequate printed textbooks are totally inconsistent with the austerity period Ghana finds itself today, especially when there have been brutal cuts to the education budget, especially the basic education budget. And finally, we believe that the Ministry of Education, the GES, and senior high schools do not have the capacity to manage 1.3 million laptops based on the past and present evidence of poor management of ICT facilities and items in our schools. our call. Based on the above, we respectfully call on the government to immediately discontinue the initiative and ensure that basic schools have a full complement of textbooks. To pursue digital learning in senior high schools, which we believe is very, very important, the government should invest in ICT libraries in our senior high schools and strengthen the quality and reliability of internet services that we are currently paying but not enjoying as contracted. And finally, on digital learning, we urge the government to enhance its strategies to maintain existing ICT equipment in our senior high schools.